The FBI has officially identified the man who tried to kill former President Donald Trump. This article reads, the FBI has named the man who shot Donald Trump as Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old registered Republican from Pennsylvania. Crooks was reportedly wearing a t-shirt bearing the emblem of a pro-gun YouTube channel when he was killed on Saturday by a Special Forces sniper after firing 3 shots at the former U.S. president. The rest of the shots are the U.S. Secret Service snipers retaliating. One shot grazed Trump's ear, spraying blood across his face. A man sitting behind Trump was shot and died, while 2 other people were badly injured. I cannot repeat this enough. We should be condemning political violence no matter what, in every single form. The second that we start egging stuff like this on is the second that we've stooped to the level of the people on January 6th. We are actively contributing to the backsliding of our country when we say that this was a good thing. It was not. Also, to the people saying it was fake and staged, grow up. The FBI said that it regarded Crooks as carrying out, quote, an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, the FBI said. Suspect's home raided. Reports said that heavily armed U.S. security agents have raided Crooks' home in Bethel Park on the edge of Pittsburgh, roughly an hour's drive south of Butler, the small and hard-up post-industrial town where he tried to kill Trump. The FBI said that Crooks was not carrying any identification when he made the assassination attempt and had to be identified using DNA samples. Quote, we don't currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what the motive was. And there's more to the article that I want to read, but Republicans have already began ratcheting up the tensions in America. It's interesting because all of the Democrats, like they usually do, gave classy remarks. Even AOC said something to the effect of, I wish Trump a speedy recovery, I wish him well. Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. President Biden, former President Barack Obama, just about every single Democratic senator and House member came out saying, I hope Trump is okay. We're all praying for him. And the Republicans are immediately ratcheting up the tensions and blaming it on Democrats. J.D. Vance, or J.P. Mandel, said, today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all cost. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. Maybe Donald Trump's own actions led directly to people being disillusioned with all of the institutions and thinking that violence was the answer. Again, Donald Trump is known for ratcheting up the heat of American politics. His claim to fame was claiming that former President Barack Obama wasn't born in the U.S. His second claim to fame in American politics was coming up with nicknames for people he disliked, whether they were Republicans, whether they were Democrats. He came up with nicknames. He completely contributed to this atmosphere today. And also, it's crazy to me that Republicans are immediately trying to connect the line between Democrats' vague rhetoric and this attempted assassination. But when Donald Trump planted the seeds for January 6th for months beforehand, Donald Trump laid the groundwork for January 6th by coming up with lies, saying we have to take our country back, fight like hell, everything is rigged, and Mike Pence is our last stand. They can't connect those lines, but now they're trying to connect the dots. It's incredibly frustrating. Mike Collins from Georgia immediately said Joe Biden sent the orders. Keep in mind, this was like an hour after it happened. We really didn't have any facts yet. We have way more evidence now, and that's why I kept telling everybody to stop saying it's staged. I was live streaming, and 30 minutes after, everyone was like, fake blood, the district attorney is lying, and people were saying that Donald Trump was using WWE tactics and he had a blood capsule. I was like, guys, this happened 30 minutes ago. We can't stoop to the level of Republicans and start coming up with conspiracy theories because we want them to be true. To continue this article, AR-15 semi-automatic rifle recovered. Crooks shot at Trump from the roof of a shed outside the security cordon thrown up around the rally in a park in central Butler around 6:15 p.m. local time, shortly after the former U.S. president had started speaking. Witnesses said Crooks, quote, bear crawled across a rooftop less than 100 meters away from Trump, the Republican presidential candidate frontrunner. They said that Crooks then spent 2 or 3 minutes steadying himself before taking aim and firing at Trump. And we also got reports from people in the crowd or people that were outside the rally that saw him bear crawling. They thought that he would be taken out by the Secret Service any moment. They thought the Secret Service would take him out way sooner, and they were surprised when nobody took him out. U.S. security forces said they had recovered an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle lying by Crooks' body. AR-15 semi-automatic rifles have been used in several mass shootings in the U.S. and have become the focus of the gun debate. Photos also showed a member of the U.S. security forces standing over Crook's body. Crooks was wearing beige cargo-style shorts and a gray t-shirt bearing the logo of a pro-gun YouTube channel called Demolition Ranch. Also, a registered Republican. Photos and videos on the internet showed Crooks to be a tall, slender, white man who wore glasses and had long, sandy brown hair. Voter registration data showed that Crooks was a registered Republican voter, but on January 20th of 2021, 2 weeks after pro-Trump alt-right supporters stormed the White House, Crooks gave $15 to a grassroots Democratic group. Crooks didn't have a criminal record. A video showed him graduating from a local school in 2022 and winning a prize for maths and science. And this next part I find incredibly interesting. First, make sure you leave a like on this video if you appreciate what I do. But this graphic right here shows where the Secret Service agent was that took out the shooter with the green pin, and then the red pin is the shooter on a rooftop about 400 feet away, and then Donald Trump is the blue pin, and that is where he was speaking. You can see where they all were in relation to each other. And this tweeter, Oliver Alexander, says, "I cannot understand how the Secret Service snipers on this rooftop just 430 feet from the shooter did not notice him climbing into position on the roof." And even though the Secret Service did respond pretty swiftly, it does seem like this was a major lapse in the Secret Service right here. How did this shooter get into this area, the premises, with a rifle, successfully climb onto a roof, a vantage point where you have the high ground, and even fire off multiple shots before anybody even rushed the stage? It seems like the Secret Service did have a little bit of a lapse, but overall I think they did do well and stick to procedure. This next post says, "The Secret Service rooftop is slightly more elevated than the shooter's rooftop. They should have at least been able to see something." I don't know if the Secret Service was lacking that day, maybe he was tired, I don't know. The law enforcement snipers were already facing the direction of the shooter seconds prior to the shooting. I am amazed they did not see the shooter crawling into position for shots a mere 430 feet away. And I guess the most plausible explanation is the idea that the shooter was climbing up a rooftop. Like I said, there were reports that he was bear crawling off a rooftop, and that rooftop was slanted in a way that the Secret Service agent could not see until his head popped up at the last second. But there are also reports that the shooter spent a few minutes steadying his gun, so you would think that the Secret Service would see him during that time interval. But this investigation is going to get incredibly interesting. I mean, it already is. This New York Times article says, "The gunman who attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania was Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old from Bethel Park, but officials released no additional information. This remains an active and ongoing investigation," the FBI said in a statement early Sunday. The gunman did not have a criminal history reflected in Pennsylvania's public court records, and officials say they had not identified a motive. A voter registration record showed that Mr. Crooks was registered as a Republican, though federal campaign finance records show he donated $15 to the Progressive Turnout Project, a liberal voter turnout group, through the Democratic donation platform Act Blue in January of 2021. And people are combing through his history, his voter registration, his donation history, because they're trying to identify a motive. They're trying to see, was this politically motivated, or is this just another crazy person who is obsessed with Jodie Foster like John Hinckley Jr. was? We really don't know until the investigation is completed, and I don't think we should be jumping to conclusions. We should go based off of the facts being reported by the outlets who have credibility, who have journalistic standards. I was saying this yesterday, but don't believe everything you read on Twitter. There are about 40 tweets that I saw yesterday that were just completely false, and they weren't reported by CNN for a reason. CNN has they have a team, the infrastructure to fact check things, correct those things if they're wrong, and then if somebody is incredibly wrong, they get fired. There are mechanisms to punish people. Somebody that has a random Twitter account who gets 4 million views on a fake tweet, there's no mechanism to punish that person or to make sure that they're incentivized not to spread disinformation. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment a blue heart if you made it this far. It means a lot. I love to hear from you guys. What do you think about this assassination attempt? And make sure you subscribe and have a great day.